Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing the Evil Within 2 on the GeForce GTX 1060, 6GB for FPS monitoring. I'll be using CAM. If you want to download this software, there's a link down in the description. And if you enjoy the content and want to support the channel directly, there are affiliate links for Humble and Amazon down in the description as well. So the Evil Within 2, I'll be doing 1080p, 1440p and 4K. To skip none of those sections of the video, check the description below. So first I'll show you 1080p using the G4560 with the maximum settings, and I'll just play the game a little bit, and you'll notice that we are pretty much above 40 frames per second, but we don't get constant 60s, not anytime soon. And the GPU usage is low. That's not because of the CPU. For what I could see, I tested better CPUs and the low GPU usage still happened. So it seems to be a problem with the game's optimization. It's not fully utilizing any GPU I throw at it. Even my 750 Ti is just using like 80%, but I use a Ryzen 3 1200 overclocked to 3.9 GHz just in case, and I tested that again. So 1080p Ultra, then 1080p Low, and I still couldn't hit 60 frames per second, which is disappointing. So I hope they fix it with a patch or something like that. Then at 1440p I overclocked the GTX 1060. You can see the core memory clocks down in the description. And well, at 1440p I use pretty much ultra settings, but you can lower a thing or two, like depth of field, maybe lower it to medium to get a few extra frames when you're aiming down sights. And well, for over 30 frames per second is fine, but when you try to get 60s, which is lowering the game to the minimum, we are not hitting 60 frames per second. So we continue on the same trend, not fully utilizing the GPU. You can even see sometimes 50% usage or 60% usage. So if it was fully utilized, we could easily hit 60 frames per second, in my opinion. And finally at 4K, it was impossible to be close to 60 frames per second, so I used the lowest settings and I got 30 frames per second with some drops to 28 when some transparencies show up. But overall this game is running pretty poorly on this card, so if you don't mind playing below 60 frames per second, you'll be fine. But if not, I'll wait for a patch or something like that, if they even manage to fix this. So in the options menu, apart from resolution and all that kind of stuff, we have an FOV slider. The default FOV was quite low. The character took a big chunk of the screen, so I recommend keeping this at 90 degrees. You can also choose film grain or chromatic aberration on rough. And like on Doom, we have the performance metric option, which in this case only gives you frame times and frame rates, which is nice. And then in the advanced options, we have the level of detail option, which is enabled or disabled. In this case, enabling it means that it will limit the level of detail, so you have less detail on distant objects to get better performance. So if it's disabled, it means that it's more demanding. Then we have object motion blur, camera motion blur, which I don't usually like motion blur, but in this game it's very well done. It doesn't bother you when you're aiming or anything like that. It just looks fluid, but it's a hit to the frame rate, so I recommend disabling this if you're having trouble with performance. Then we have depth of field quality, the DOF, which you can turn it off, low, medium, high or ultra. I recommend lowering it to medium. I had a big hit in performance, at least on my end, when I'm aiming down sights. Other than that, it's fine. Then we have screen space ambient occlusion and SSR. SSR is screen space reflections. Both of those options are also a big hit to the frame rate, so I recommend playing with those settings and see how it goes. Then we also have volumetric lighting, which are the God rays, pretty much. You can call them that way. On anti-aliasing, we have disabled, FXAA, TAA, or a mix of FXAA and TAA. I noticed a small hit in performance using this setting, so no problems there. And shadow quality, we have low, medium, high or ultra. And again, I recommend lowering this if you're having trouble with performance. Pretty much all the options here have a noticeable impact in performance, so I recommend just adjusting the overall quality. For example, you want to lower the settings instead of changing individual stuff. Go into the overall quality and try low, medium, high or ultra. And if you want to tweak it a little bit, just play with the depth of field, SSR and motion blur. With those I usually get the frame rate bump I need, but overall this game is not running that good. On all my cards I wasn't able to get 60 frames per second constant, even using the GTX 1060. The game just loves to drop below 60 frames per second, it's not fully utilizing the GPU. For some reason it's around 50 to 80%, it doesn't go any higher, and there's no reason to do so. If I lower the resolution it still does, it's not a CPU thing. I tried better CPUs and this still happened. So it seems to be just a problem with the game. Let's hope that this is fixed with a patch. And we're missing a texture quality option, which I don't understand why. Maybe it's hidden somewhere, but I didn't find it. But if you have a 2GB VRAM card, you get over the 2GB limit. So we will start using RAM and page file to fill in the gaps, so keep that in mind. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
Gotta be more careful with these things. Hopefully that did the trick. Out of ammo. Find that signal.